everybody. Scott Golden here with the All-Star Wrestling Review Series. We're trudging through 1979, summer 1979, back when wrestling was still good. To me, it's good through about 97 or so, but maybe early 98. And then the descent into chaos has continued. Anyway, this is the August 11th edition of 1979 All-Star Wrestling, and we've got close to 1750, something like that, of these up, and there for your listening pleasure. Old school, new school, and all points in between are going to continue to add to that. We move to the North American champion Pat Patterson pinning Steve King in 351 with a knee drop off the top rope. Of course, Patterson, most fans of our generation or this generation will know him as one of the Stooges and a backstage talent, just passing away within the last year or so, but major talent in the San Francisco area and all across the country, actually, San Francisco being predominant. And he is a heel through 79 and into 1980. He does come back for a couple of matches in 83, 84, but also does a bunch of commentary with Vince McMahon at a time. And he ends up with lots of punches and kicks and stomps on the floor on his adversary here, King. And a bit more of a brawler than a lot of people recognize him to be. King fights back. Of course, Patterson being managed by the Grand Wizard of Wrestling at the time. Lou Albano, the Grand Wizard, and Classy Freddie Blassie are the three managers of the triumvirate, the trifecta of the 1970s and into the early 80s. But a knee drop from the top rope gets a win for Mr. Patterson, your North American champion, having just defeated Ted DiBiase within the last few weeks here. Then we go to another enhancement match this time. We move to Tito Santana, who eventually becomes our television champion, our tag team champion here, JoJo Andrews. There are two flying body presses by Santana, 443 in this particular match here. And ultimately, it kind of leads around a little bit. Santana is a major star at the time, and or becoming a major star. He cinches up on the arm. Andrews, a bit of a bigger guy, more power-based, gets a few cheap shots in, takes Santana down with those punches, kicks, and cheap shots. Santana continually working on the arm. Andrews using the power and a little bit of I don't know that I'd say a height advantage. It's probably about the same height, but a wider build for Andrews, who does hang in there with Santana until those two flying body presses. Santana is great, being considered Sportsman of the Year and Most Improved of the Year. Bruno Sammartino endorses him. Bruno is impressed with Tito. Tito's super excited about the prospect of being regarded in that way. Also, we see another match or another interview. This is a interview that's kind of weird because it teases almost like a questioning, heelish, borderline tweener version of Vince McMahon or Vincent Kennedy McMahon as an announcer, where he talks about in great detail the nature of the shin guard, knee guard of Chief Jay Strongbow. Strongbow continually talking over about a 4 to 5 minute interview where he hates being on his back. He's never going to do that again. He's going to get even with Valentine. He needs the guard to be able to wrestle and all of that. Then a very rare 1979 edition of Roddy Piper coming in. This may be one of the few television matches. He comes in as the Piper and does a 10-minute exhibition match with Jose Estrada, which at the time, Estrada, kind of one of the testers for the company. Also, Piper claimed in shoot interviews before his untimely passing several years ago that he was kind of run out of town by guys who didn't want him there. Estrada attacks Piper as he's about to play bagpipes and throws him out of the ring. And this is the final appearance of Rod Piper until January of 1984. So Whatever happened here during this time is significant in that it holds Piper back. Piper with black and yellow tights, and he gets beat around pretty quickly. Snap mares, punches, kicks. Obviously, Piper, never known for being a technical wrestler. Probably thinner than people would remember him, 4.5 years later by far. Estrada manages to hold on to him, actually gets a good bit of bear hug out of him, and tries to get just about everything he can out of Piper in terms of just turning him around and sending him sideways, metaphorically, and kind of bringing out of Piper a decent enough match. I don't know that bear hug, which runs longer than would be considered average, is necessary, but it's here, and then we see some body slams and other offensive maneuvers from Estrada. Estrada thinking he has won. He is not, and they go to a 10-minute time limit draw. Rare opportunity to see Piper so young. 70s footage of Piper is somewhat limited, so cool thing to see there. In any event, we move to, and they next in the contest, or series of contests, Chief Jay Strongbow returning. Moose Monroe is his opponent. They go 7 minutes, 10 seconds, longer than it needs to be for sure, especially with the final match on the show going only 2.25 minutes. But we'll get there when we get there. But anyway, Strongbow has returned, I think, once or twice before, but still, he's returning on a consistent basis here through the next several months, and, gets taken down by Monroe, having to work with the knee guard and the knee brace and all of that. Monroe, obviously the brawler. Strongbow coming back off the injury from Greg Valentine back in March, so lots of babyface heat behind Strongbow, and Strongbow tries to come back, hits the tomahawk drop a couple times, but manages to get the sleeper, actually being forced by the referee to awaken his man here, as a consequence of, in real life, if you put a sleeper on somebody, you can cut the idea of the sleeper is cutting the flow of blood off to the brain, and so having to wake the man up after matches was a thing back in the day. Then we go to the final match of the day, speaking of which, John Schmidt and Ivan Putski. The Polish Hammer is the victory for Putski. Putski still looking to be in probably, I would say, maybe not the best shape of his career, but still in very, very good shape. Bodybuilder physique, takedowns, headlock takedowns, reverse chin locks, shoulder tackles, and even sending Schmidt out to the arena floor at one point, followed by the Polish Hammer and the victory for Scott Putski. We will continue and be back in Two Shakes of a Lamb's Tail. Until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment.